May 23rd, 2023. Does it feel like it's been over a year? And I don't know that there's any data to back it up, but I can't imagine any GM in their rookie year has done more than you have. I mean, out for debate as to, we'll see how the trades work out, but between signings and trades, and it's been a wild year for you.
It's been stressful for sure. Lots of sleepless nights, lots of, trying to, like we're always trying to get better and make the team better and try to, whether it's hiring on the staff side, doing contracts. And that's the other thing. People, they see the hockey part, but everybody's contracts was up last year. So have to get everybody done, get back. So it's been, it's amazing. It's only been 1 year. It feels like about 10.
He's doing okay. Cause normally like the Barack Obama thing, like he aged like a decade in 1 year. You're still looking
I'm aging. The hair's almost gone.
We won't have the overhead cam. And the thing of these deals is, and we'll see how they pan out, because already the Toffoli one looks like a win, is it's tough when you are always trading away the best player in the deal, right? You're taking assets, you're taking unknowns. They may all be like slam dunks in 5 years, 10 years from now. But right now you're kind of on the wrong, the S end of the stick, if you will, when people are grading these things.
Yeah. I pretty much lose every trade and everybody's right from the Sharangovich. That was the first one. And I remember, I'm human. I said, I'll just take a peek, see what I looked at the first one. Rookie GM gets schooled by New Jersey. I was like, and I saw he got an A+ and I got an F. I just said, I won't look anymore. Yeah. It's not good for the ego.
The internet
got the receipts. Hey, look at this.
The internet's pretty level-headed.
Yeah, I was like, that's not good.
Yeah. Difficult spot too, because you're making these trades. You want to win these trades, but you're trading away good players. You're trading away good people too. It's hard watching what's left. I would think the emotion in the locker room as all-star, good player, all-star, as these guys leave the room, to kind of keep morale up. And we're building towards something here, as hard as it is for guys to take right now.
Yeah. And that's the thing, but I do think even when the season started last year, we're going to see how we're going to get off to the start. And it was not great. Obviously we were 2-9 and things weren't looking good, but then Zari came up, Pospisil came up. And then we started bringing these young guys up and we got to a point where we're back to 500. We're, hey, we're going to have some growing pains with young guys, but to see what those guys did, I think it gave everybody hope. And it brought a guy like Kadri right back to play with those two guys. I mean, if he would have got to play with them all year, who knows where his point totals would have kind of went. And then, but you're right. You're losing really good people and great players and unfortunately, that's the hard part of the business, but that's what we had to do. We had kind of contract lengths and what we would pay and what made sense to us. And, when they want you to budge, they don't want you to budge a little bit. They want you to budge a lot. And I think we just had a plan, and it's hard to be, we always talk about being disciplined with contracts. We want to do contracts that we feel are fair, but we don't want to set, especially for myself, a rookie GM, I talked to Brian Burke a lot about it. You don't want to set a market for players being a young GM.
Sure.
Someone else sets the market, that's okay. But you're, and I always, in the back of my mind, I've always thought about that. And to have Don there and Dave Nonis and Brad Pascal, on our whole staff, they keep me in check because I'm impulsive at times and I want to do things maybe a little quicker, but you have to be patient. You have to work through it, but the contracts are the tough part.
Yeah. Did you get, because I know we were kind of in touch because the Tanev one goes down, that was a busy time. Did you get offer of a first for Tanev? Because remember that was going around and it's like, it's one thing to have a hard offer. It's another thing, maybe do it for, what was the story there?
That's pretty much the way it was.
Yeah.
Might do it. But, you talk for a couple months and it's, hold off for another weekend, give me a few more days, and I said, hey, I'm going to go in a different direction. And is the first in play? Well, give me another 2-3 days. And I just thought it's just been too long, and I do think teams, when you look back, maybe if I waited right till the end, but again, it's a tough one and maybe not.
He's going down the tunnel every second period. I swear.
That's the one guy.
I was anxious. That one guy.
And then when we felt like, okay, we got to, Greshnikov is a good young player, similar to, 20 years old and a second round pick. And we thought, okay, we would have Would you have loved a first? Yeah, we all, everybody asks for a first in every deal. I think that's the way it must be in the GM handbook, ask for the first, and then wait as long as you can and see if you can get it. And, the one thing about that, there was kind of the trade deadline's coming. And again, with the injuries, you just never know, with Chris, he's a warrior, but we thought that was the right time for us.
He was a good fit in Dallas. That was a good trade.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're trading away UFAs and they're going to playoff bound teams and only one team wins it. And I'm not sure how many of the guys you traded away are Stanley Cup champion. I don't think any actually. As it turned out. Anyway,
it's so hard.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. We can jump right to the Markstrom thing. That's fresh in most people's mind. Again, another tough one to get done because he's your MVP more or less. Months in the making, but yet came together quick. I guess, how did this come together? How close was this to the rumored deal that was kicking around at the deadline?
I think the one thing, I never went to Markstrom and said, will you sign off on a trade? There was never a trade done, and that's where people there are rumors out there, but there was never a deal where I went to him and said, okay, will you sign off on it? It didn't get to that point. So, it got to that point a couple of days ago, and that's when I did it. But it's hard because we're in a Canadian market. Everything seems like it's out there. Whether I will say, like, when I hear a lot of the trades that are out there, I would definitely do those trades. Like, once I hear them in my mind, I'm like,
this guy in a first and that two, and then another pick.
I would love to do that. But when you talk to the teams and just like anything, you go to all the teams at the end of the year and, hey, what are you looking for? What are you looking to do on the draft? Are you willing to move it all up or down? And, you're kind of get a lay of the land, what might be coming. Are you looking for anything on your team? So I kind of knew which teams were had interest in goalies and you work through there and you try to figure out, okay, what's the best deal? What's the right time? And I do think there's more goalies on the market now than there was at the trade deadline. And as we were moving through, especially with New Jersey, they called and said, hey, we need to go one way or the other, Craig. Like, we like your goalie. We'd like to do a deal. Course. But again, we have to do it sooner than later. So, and then that's when it really picked up, and then we came to an agreement. And then I said, okay, now I got to get a hold of Pat Morris and then to get a hold of Markey to get signed off on.
Would it be fair to say that they were the only serious bidder? Like, there's obviously teams that have needs, but did you get as far down the line or even close with any other clubs?
It felt like it was moving in a direction with all the teams where there were similar offers. They were similar type deals. Mm-hmm. There wasn't, much difference in kind of where we were generally laid out on each one. And we just felt like this is one that, with Kevin, he's a player that we really liked. Like, and I get where people would say, geez, what do they like about him? He's a big man that can play well defensively. And he's gotten better each year.
He had to play a ton last year with their injuries. Right?
Yeah. And you got to see where Zadorov was when he was at 23 and where he was, and we do all the analytics and, you look at guys around the league that if you were, you're hoping he gets to at one point that the analytics numbers and what our scouts say about him would be like a Chernak in Tampa, a guy like Samuelson in Buffalo, or a guy like Nick Hague. Those are similar type players. Mm-hmm. You try to compare players who would be, you're hoping where he's going to be at some point. That's kind of, the player he is, but those are very important players in each of those teams. And that's why, not everyone's going to get all the points but to kill the penalties, to use his size. And, we've heard great thing character-wise, the type of person he is, talking to coaches, talking to people in Ottawa when he was there, what he's all about and his work ethic, so that's exciting.
Yeah. So it's safe to say he's a guy that will start this year in the NHL. He's played 82 last year with the Devils. You don't want to put a ceiling on a guy where you limit him, but do you feel like it's a natural for him to become a top four defenseman, or is everything going to have to hit for him to sort of get to a second pair guy?
Yeah, I think the progression of where he was, coming in, playing pro, he's gone in the right direction. The one thing I like to hear when his work ethic, where he was physically, how he trains now, how his diet is. You talk to people that know him like that, and he's really learning how to do all that. And it takes time. Not everybody's at the same pace, but I think, when he's at his best, he's a simple puck mover. He plays hard. He's not a fighter. Like, I don't expect that. That's really not in there, but he'll stick up for teammates. He'll be there for everybody. And penalty
That's not really in the game now anyway, right?
No.
We talk about
he's a specialist, right?
Right. Be big, be physical, move well. That's what today's game is.
But if Pospisil does what Pospisil, you just want guys to get in there and help each other. And and he will do that, and he will play hard, and he's hard to beat, good one-on-one, good size, good stick. So, but still growing and learning how his game translates. And that's what we always say, even with Noah Hannafin, when he came, he wasn't a finished product, because we always say 25, 26, 27 is when they really, on the defensive side, really figure it out. So, and I think you saw that with Hannafin. He had an amazing year this year.
Yeah.
One person I saw that I think loves this trade is Dustin Wolf. Like, he's a big fan. He thinks you did great.
Vladar's probably, he's saying the same thing.
He's got the same thing. Yeah. You never want to, it's here you go. It's on a silver platter, but it's clear it's Wolf's time. He's earned it. He's been patient. I think he's probably been a good pro. Is that fair to say? There'd been a lot of guys, this is my year. I'm going to get some NHL games. And it just maybe took a little bit longer for him, maybe in his eyes, than it would have taken, but he's still young. Is it fair to say this is his team now, or don't go quite that far?
Well, it's, for me, it's the competition.
Yeah.
Vladdy, him, somebody's got to take the job, and earn it. And it starts right in training camp, and do I think they're working that much harder? Yeah, they are excited.
Yeah.
They're thinking this is a great opportunity, and that's what people want. It's just like with Pospisil and Zari. And, I think at the opening press conference, we talked about giving young players opportunity. And, I think we had 8 young players come into and play up for the Flames this year. So, that was part of the plan going in. And now, we need someone to rise. And, do we know exactly where these guys are as NHL goalies, as starters? No, but that's part of the learning curve.
He's done his job, right?
Yeah,
at every level to this point, he's
earned the opportunity.
He's earned it. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. He has, and you can't ask, goalie of the year.
Yeah.
It just.
So Vladar's health, is that a question for the start of the year? Will that have you maybe shopping in a veteran goalie market?
Well, the reason we kind of did it when we did, because he was supposed to be back ready to go for training camp. That was the goal. That's why when we kind of said, okay, we're going to shut you down, we're going to get the surgery, and then you should be back ready to go in September. Everything's on pace. You're always a little nervous. It is surgery. You do, he hasn't gotten back to on the ice, getting in all those situations. So, there might be something where we need to think about, now that it's happened and Marky's moved, is there someone else we bring in to help supplement this? Because we don't know. I wish I could say you 100% he's ready to go, but
till he's on the ice.
If I called him, he's, I'm good. Don't worry about it, Craig. Yeah. But in reality, you're hoping he's gonna be ready to go come training camp.
We've seen organizations, you need 3. Like most teams will have, okay, we lost a guy, like whether it's the Lions and Stalock, or even Calvin Pickard, what he's done in Edmonton. Like, if you can find a vet that's, is a tweener of sorts, that seems to be, it used to be 70 starts for your ace, and now it's splitting, but now you almost need a third guy that can play.
Well, you really do. And with injuries, with anything that happens, you look at the teams, even Toronto you almost need to have that in your organization. So, to lose Markstrom, obviously your starter, we need to kind of supplement and figure out who's the right fit. And that's, that's what I said. I wish I was a goalie guy, but that's where Jordan Sigalet, he puts the time in, he works. And I said, what is the best for a goalie's development? You tell me, Jordan, because that's why I'm just not sure. Forwards, defense are a little bit different, but a goalie,
it's a different sport.
It is. It's hard. And I know it's such a mental thing, and you don't want to put him in a situation where it sets him back at all.
And he'll tell you, right? Because you can have we want him to play 40 games, 50, 60. His performance is going to tell you what he's ready for and what he isn't. But ultimately comes down to it.
Exactly. And that's what we always say. The players always say, well, how do I make the NHL? I remember Matthew, we were in Penticton. how did Monahan make the NHL that quickly? I said, he played so well, we couldn't send him back.
Forced his hand. Yeah, Berkey, I think it said publicly, like, you can't make this team like, he's going to have to completely change our minds.
Yeah. Like, and then he had the 9 goals right away. And Berkey's like, he's staying, like, you know, and he earned it. And that's what it is. It's really about guys earning the spot.
So Friday the 28th, you have 2 picks in the first round. You've got 8 picks in the first 4 rounds. You've talked about trying to remain competitive, but you've also talked about how this team's going to turn around by your work through the draft. Mm-hmm. You had 1 pick last year, but this feels like the beginning of a bumper run. You've got 7 first rounders the next 3 years. 1 will go to Montreal for the Monahan deal, but 6 in the next 3 years. Tell me about, is it pressure? Is it excitement? Like this is not an exact science going to the draft and finding stars, but if you're good at it, man, it changes everything.
It's an opportunity. It's exciting, actually. Like, it really is exciting. And I think, you know, I've watched, again, I think that's how we're going to build this, through the draft, not through free agency. Trades and probably the draft are the 2 ways we think we're going to kind of move this thing forward. But to know, to see all these kids, and I didn't think it was going to be a real deep draft when it started this year. I thought, it's going to be an okay. But it's amazing how many guys have emerged and come on. And I'm thinking, oh, this is better than I thought. Yeah. So, you know, to be at 9 in a very good spot. And the other thing is, I think there's opportunity this year, where last year, you know, you call anybody looking to move up or down, or it was pretty much, no, we're
nothing
good.
Moved since like winter of those picks.
No.
Everything stayed put, which is incredibly crazy.
So I do feel this year isn't that way.
Yeah.
Because I do feel when you look at who's going to go number 1, after that, everyone's got their own opinions and players and who they like.
And there's
their
some teams
needs.
in there. Sorry, Craig. There's some teams that they've been picking high for a while. They've got a full cupboard of prospects. They don't necessarily need another first rounder that might be ready in a few years. A body that can step in now might be more attractive.
Absolutely. Like, and that's what I said. That's, you know, that's when I made the calls last year. It was pretty much, you know, we're good. We're going to sit tight. And this year, no, we're open to it. What are you guys thinking? Oh, so there is that dialogue going on right now. So it'll be interesting. You know, I don't know how it's going to play out, but I do know, you know, talking to Todd, I was just with him in Florida at Dan Milstein's camp, and it was, it's exciting. I mean, I think we're really excited. You know, last year there was more nerves just getting the job, getting in, and then the Toffoli stuff, and kind of what was going on behind the scenes with all the players. You know, it seemed like we were in the news every day. Mm-hmm. So this year it feels like now we can really go and enjoy this draft, and to have 8 picks in the first 4 rounds, pretty exciting for the organization.
So if you're sitting at 9, how many guys are you like, no chance he gets to us? Like 3 or 4? It just feels like this volatility is crazy.
Yeah, because, you know, we said, could he? Well, maybe. You know, I asked Todd. Usually I'd say, Todd, can this guy? No, he will not be there. Can this guy? No, he will not be there. This year, I don't know. You know, because if it's a run on D early, if forwards keep going early, if, you know, do you want a defensive, more of a solid all around 2-way guy, or do you want an offensive guy, or, you know, there's lots of different types of players. So, you know, like you said, teams have been drafting a lot. What are their needs? Maybe they say, okay, we feel comfortable going in this direction or that direction, but, and that's why they might move down. There might be trades for players. Like, it's going to be a fun draft. I know it's going to be in Vegas. So there's going to be it seems like there's going to be a lot of action.
You're in best player available mode. That's probably safe to say. You're not specifically focused on a defenseman over a forward,
center over winger.
Yeah. Is there anything?
I would like being a center. Always want centers.
Yeah,
like
I suppose.
That's the
only way you get them.
Yeah, like that center would be ideal. But again, you know, if you felt a defenseman was better than a center, or a wing was the best player available, you know, and that's why we get the order. And I still think Todd and I we talked about it. Like, it's still going to be fun at the draft, because I still think we've tightened up the list.
Have those battles started in the boardroom yet?
They're more aggressive right towards the end, I will say. You know, guys are heated, banging the table.
So this guy's there.
A couple people breaking computers, slamming it. No, my guy can't move down 1.
So if you're like, you've got a list, obviously the list will have to be done by then.
Yeah.
there might be a tweak here or there, or like, geez, should we put these guys in the same box or do we separate them? Like, is that kind of the final layer of getting ready for the draft?
It is. I mean, it's in order. And then when we get moving along, and a big thing is like, if you have a guy that's higher, is there a chance to move up? Okay. Make that call. See if we can get up a little bit higher.
Yeah.
What the price is. Maybe the one thing I like is to have the amount of picks we have. Mm-hmm. I think that's a good thing too.
Get some flexibility.
Right? When you feel like, okay, this is the area we might get the first pick. And then this is the group that we could get in that second. Is there an opportunity to move up a little higher from that second pick? I think there might be. Yeah. So, which gives us lots of leeway to go either way. And again, I know I had a lot of calls on the draft floor and none of them worked out, but I think this year could be different.
It feels totally different. Usually it's like, the draft will start at 5. It feels like the draft starts at 2 this year. I don't ever remember hearing that, where it's like there's that little consensus.
Yeah, it is. And it's going to be, and that's why I don't think people mind moving back. They're saying, okay,
still get your guy.
I might get the guy I want.
Yeah. And I feel like because of that, there's going to be, maybe it's only one team, but there's going to be someone that looks really smart in about 8-9 years, and someone that really doesn't look like they knew where they were doing.
Well, and that's the thing. You can make a mistake.
Yeah.
You can make a mistake, and that's but we feel, if we didn't do anything, we feel very good with who might be, again, and it's a big range because at 9, it could go anyway.
Jerome's got a role in the club, and his kid had an absolutely monster year, from like healthy scratch in the playoffs a year ago to setting Rockets records for goals in a series, nearly 50 in the season. I don't know that there's any sane hockey dads, but I do think Jerome's a very sane human. Have you guys agreed to not talk about Teach? He leaves the room. Like, what's the arrangement there? Or is it just like, no, it's business is business, and pretend his name's Smith? Or can a dad do that?
When we were over in Finland, let's put it this way. He watched all the games with us. Once the Canadian games start, gone. I don't know where he was. Yeah.
And that's professional.
Yeah. He's a dad. He has nerves during the game. I mean,
what are his plans for draft night? Is he at the table? Is he with
No,
Tish?
I said, you have to be with Tish. Like,
until he's
and
gone.
then day 2, he can
because I think there's things that the families do after they get drafted. There's stuff that goes on. I don't know what that is. Peter Hanlon would be able to tell you better, but I think they're pretty busy doing things, and the families are there. And, so you only get so many chances to do that. So I think, because Jerome's like, do you want me to come down? You want me to start it? I'm like, no, you have to be with your son.
Yeah. There's one way to fix this, Craig. I mean, I don't want to say it out loud. If y'all want to be in the same spot, you can meet on the podium.
It's
that'd be the first time ever the kid and the dad walk down from the seats, go to the podium.
From the Flames and from the family.
That would be, it'd be weird, wouldn't it? A story though.
Is he a center?
He's been a wing as a young player. I've seen him play center,
Sounds like he started 3-4 games at the beginning of the year and that was it.
Yeah. And look what he did at wing. So, I mean, I think it's hard to say, I think he probably would. I think I've heard him say he'd like to be a center.
Yeah.
But again, you want to be a center, that's what, when I was in St. Louis, Joel Quenneville said, you can either be the third line checking center or you can go play in the minors and be in the, I'm like, I'm good with the checking center. I'll stay here.
That's right.
So it's kind of, there's an opportunity to play wing. Perfect. If center,
It kind of sounds like Honzek too, last year, right? Because there was hope that he could play center, but then the injuries this year just kind of derailed everything.
Yeah, that was a year. I talked to him at the end of the year. I said, this is just one where, hey, we're going to put it behind it. We're not even going to talk about it. We're going to have a great summer training, come back healthy. Let's go. Don't even overthink it. Don't lose sleep over it. It is what it is. Injuries happen.
When do you make your decision on him playing for the Wranglers or going back to junior? Or have you made it? Or do you want to see him in dev cap first? I mean, how does that process work?
Yeah, probably going to, we want to see him. You want to see him at thing. I mean, just the way he plays, probably the American League is the way to go, but I don't want to, pigeonhole that either, so we're open to kind of wait and see how it goes. But he's, he's going to have a big summer. And one thing I like, him and Pospisil are training over at home together, and Pospisil I think he finished 3rd in camp last year in testing, was in great shape. So, I think him working out with him over there, they're going to push each other, which is great because he is a great athlete, Honzek. He moves well for a big man.
Yeah. We got you for a few minutes. It's busy. Oliver Kylington, is there any update? there?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking to the agent. It's never as quick as we'd like or as fast. But I did talk to Oliver the other day too. I think last week, maybe Thursday or Friday, and he's in good spirits. He's excited. He's looking forward to getting back playing. Wishes the season hadn't ended. So it's just the process of going through the contract. It's never as easy as we would like.
So it's not a fear of losing Oliver so much as finding the right terms for both sides.
Exactly. That's the big thing. Just like we talked before, like things have to make sense for our side and his side.
Yeah.
July 1, you have a ton of money to spend, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to spend it. I know having you watch the GM, there haven't been a lot of years where you've had room under the cap. That's maybe a tool in your toolkit that the other GMs haven't had, that we can do things with cap space.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, I think the ability to do it, but again, we have to be smart. I mean, we have to know where we are. I don't feel, like when I told, I think Frank Seravalli after at the GM meetings, like, we're going to look to do something. I guess I should have been more clear and said, I don't think 7-year deals for the Calgary Flames make sense right now, but shorter term deals at the dollars, we have some more money, guys that we think can come and help build the culture. And it's all about building the culture for the young guys. Again, we have young players and we're going to see the young players get a chance. It's just, you want to make sure they are ready for that chance, and you don't want it to hurt them in the long run. I know they all want to be there today. So I totally get that. It's just a matter of getting them in, when Zari was ready, when Pospisil was ready. You just don't want to force them in and have it go the wrong way. So I do think there's going to be some opportunity. And, I do think with the cap going up, you can also kind of weaponize that money too. Maybe not now, maybe later.
When teams are tight,
because I know the drafts, the cap's going up, but there's still going to be some tight teams out there that need some relief. And if we're there to, add some more draft capital or get a player that we like, that's important to us too.
So July 1's free agency, but it's also a chance where you can extend players that are heading into UFA summers, and obviously a lot of tension on Kuzmenko with obviously coming back in the deal and the great pace. I think he scored at about a 40-goal pace since arriving in Calgary. And then Sharon Govich, who we talked about, what a theft of the Devils that is. No more F grades on that trade, Greg.
Thanks.
Can you flirt now? Do you chat? Do you line up meetings? How do you approach an extension conversation with these players?
You kind of had, you have ideas like, hey, were you happy? How's everything going? We'd like to talk, but again, with all the rules, we can't do it until the 1st. So, definitely we have ideas what we want to do moving forward with these guys. So, which is good. And you know what? I think they like being here. So that's a positive too. They're excited about Calgary and they, I think Sharon Govich might not have said it quite the way, but he really enjoyed his time in Calgary. I think it was a language thing. People were all fired up.
How is your Russian?
I can't. I should learn a little more Russian than I am, but it's amazing to see those guys come over. Even the kids that we just interviewed, to think, imagine going to Russia and speaking Russian and to teams. It's amazing what they do.
Yeah. And because I did want to ask you about those shorter term deals, because you're not as focused on getting the money under the cap. There's an opportunity for you to have some veteran guys, some good players on a shorter term deal, and for them. And it's not like they're using you as a stepping stone, but if they want to come in and play a bunch of minutes and have a key role and be a key leader, not a lot of teams maybe have that for them. You could be in a unique spot for July.
Yeah, you've seen teams do it, and it's smart. I mean, they bring them in, and it's not to say they're only going to be there for 1 or 2 years. Like, maybe it works out and it's a home run for both sides and you can do it. But, I think with we just don't want to, it's always those contracts when you feel like you sign them, the day you sign them, you could never trade the player. Those are the ones you want to stay away from, or where you feel like you're handicapped. So you want to make, fair deals. Everybody's happy, but also, could make sense if for some reason it doesn't work out, you can move on and they can move on. Yeah. But, that's kind of the philosophy. A year under your belt as a GM, also a year for your head coach in the hot seat, so to speak, as the guy that has to talk to the media after. It's his plan that's being put out there. How does he balance, and how do you think he's done the job of balancing developing young players, but also
trying to win with these veterans that are saying, hey, like I signed here to be competitive and win? Because it felt like this first year was a really good blend of that.
It was. And it's hard because, I mean, let's be honest, we, myself included, we all want to win every game. Every player down there wants to win. I mean, that's what you play for. But the one thing I like about Ryan was he's very open to the young guys. I could go down and say, hey, we're going to bring up Klapka. We're going to bring up Coronado. Can we put him on? Can we get him on the power play? Can we put him in position with Zari and Pospisil? And it's always a little bit of a battle with us back and forth, but in the end, he ends up giving these guys an opportunity. And then, I think now that he's seen those guys come up and do well and do what he's like, okay, I get it. Like I can give these guys a little bit of a leash. This is the way we're going to have to go. And he's open to everything. That's the one nice thing. I mean, I think, with Darryl might be a little different. If you're in the doghouse, you might be in the doghouse for a while. I think Ryan, you know what, you're in and you're out. And I thought Bob Hartley did a real good job at that too with our young guys. He would be mad at Sam some days and then he'd be mad at John, but what he did is he played him and he put him in situations to get better, and they might make some mistakes and he'd shake his head. He'd be like, oh boy, but he stuck with it. And I think I see that in Ryan. Yeah. And I think, with Brad Larson coming in, even last year, we really did talk about what we were looking for with Ryan. We'd love to have a coach with some head coaching experience. Again, we made some offers. We didn't get the coaches. And now to have someone come in, I said, if Brad's worked with, Torts, it's going to be pretty good, hopefully, with Ryan. So real good. I really enjoyed kind of the interviews with Brad Larson and then to kind of see him and Ryan work together and talk and what their philosophies were. And then, go to dinner with them and see them. And yeah, I think it's going to be a good fit. So I'm really looking forward to it. And Cale's going to get an opportunity. Nobody works harder in the NHL than Cale McLean. I mean, I don't know if people know what he does behind the scenes. I mean, even the other day he was down there for 6 hours cutting clips. I'm like, what are you doing here? Yeah. But, he's going to do everything in his power. He's going to be doing the power play. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he does.
You're a busy man. It's meeting after meeting after meeting. We appreciate you for coming by, making time for us. We'll hook up again. Good luck in Vegas.
See you in Vegas.
Yeah. You guys are going.
One of us is.
Oh,
it's a long story.
It'll be fun.
You'll see Pinder in
Vegas. You know what? We just went through all the sphere stuff, and it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah,
it's tighter than a
rink. Are you buying a new suit? Are you like the drafted kids? Do you get all?
But you find out some of the rules, and so usually you go up on stage, and literally they're like, okay, you go to this little stage to make the pick. The commissioner's there, and the player will come there. So it's a little different. Yeah. It's going to be a different
Broadway show. This is very exciting.
It's going to be
no pressure, but don't mess it up. Yeah, that's how it goes.
And are you doing the Bill Armstrong? Everyone wears the same suit, or you gonna let them? Because they're not in Arizona.
You should wear like cowboy hats and buckles.
That's right.
Oh God, yeah.
And roll in with cowboy boots.
If you haven't talked to wardrobe, it might be too late, Craig. You got to hurry.
I was thinking about that. Should we do? Yeah, but it seems like Billy takes a beating for that. So I'm like,
I don't mind it. I mean, they could be better suits, but I like that. You know who they are. Yeah, you're part of the team.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? It is kind of it's. Should do something fun now
belt
that
buckles.
you're safe.
It's a great idea.
Belt buckles.
Stampede a couple weeks.
Snakeskin boots.
I know. Yeah. Well, Boomer can come down.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll try and
don't worry if you have any recommendations for the 9th pick. Let me know.
Yeah,
I'm open.
That doesn't scare me at all.
Perfect. Thanks, Craig. Always good to see you, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Too bad Rhett couldn't be here.
I know. Well,
is it?
We're used to it.
You're right.
He's such a draft nut. I don't like. He's dying watching this.
Yeah.
He's more dialed in now that his son's getting older.
Getting closer to being dialed in.
It's like Jerome. He knows all the players in the next 3 years.
Very interested all of a sudden.
Has lots of opinions. Thanks, guys.